Vicky and I were at Windigo at our Royale National Park, having arrived from a cruise on Minnesota's North Shore. As required, we registered at the Park Service's Visitor Center, where we filled out a float plan, received an orientation from the friendly rangers, and looked at the exhibits, including the beautiful original lens from Rock of Ages Light. We also walked further up the hill to the store, partly out of curiosity, but also in search of pizza and ice cream. The store sells t-shirts, souvenirs, and books, but more importantly, stocks a variety of food items and wine. They are definitely in the camping supplies category, but there's no other place to buy groceries at the western end of our Royale National Park. So you need to be well supplied before you arrive. We stayed at Windigo for a few more days visiting with our cruising friends, but decided for comfort reasons to cast off and move to the other side of the pier. The weather forecast had called for heavy rains and strong southwesterly winds, which could slam Freelance hard against the dock, so it was better to move to this eastern side when we had the chance. We patiently waited for the passenger ferries to finish loading up and leave, and then swooped in to claim the desired dock space. The weather forecast was right. We soon enough saw the front on the horizon, and the rain and strong westerly winds followed. It was a good thing we had moved Freelance to the pier's eastern side, where we were much better protected. And by the way, this wasn't a short-lived rain squall. It actually lasted for hours, as some Lake Superior storms often do. But the next day was sunny and warm, and we enjoyed a nice trout dinner in the cockpit. Most of the time, Windigo's pier was fairly busy with a small boat traffic and a daily ferry service from Grand Portage. Our Royale has actually seen a visitor increase in the last few years. More people are coming to the island by the seaplane service from Grand Marais, but the vast majority are obviously coming by boat. Still, the island is far from crowded. It is definitely remote, and day trips to the island are difficult, so it's therefore one of the least visited national parks in the United States. It was time to move on. We left Washington Harbor by Grace Island, rounded the buoy at Cumberland Point, and set a course towards the southeast. We actually tried to sail with a main and jib topsail, but the wind was annoyingly light, so we had to motor sail to make time. Our destination was Hay Bay. We were followed by our friends Duane and Mar on the express cruiser Inisfree. They can, of course, go much faster than we can, but they left Windigo later than us and set for them a sedate speed so we could enter the narrow channel into Siskiwit Bay together. The wind kept dying on us. The sails didn't do us any good. We eventually took them down and continued with just engine power. The channel into Siskiwit is about 20 nautical miles from Windigo. It's buoyed, but still requires close attention to detail.
More to port. Okay, there you go. Keep it there. A little more to starboard.
Inisfree entered the channel right behind us. We soon passed the last buoy and headed across Siskiwit Bay towards the second line of reefs, about 3 miles away. And if you wonder what Siskiwit means, it's an ancient designation for a place with a lot of fish. After carefully passing through the next reefs, we then turned southwest towards Hay Bay. At Point Hay, you still have about a mile to go to the anchorage and a small dock. By mutual agreement, Inisfree went ahead of us, hoping to find an open spot at the dock. All docks at the National Park Service are on a first-come, first-served basis. There is no system for reservations. This day, it wasn't an issue for Vicky and I. We planned on anchoring. We dropped the hook in about 15 feet of water and got a good set in mud. Our friends were in luck. They managed to tie up to the south side of the dock. The other side was taken by a sports fishing boat. The next morning, Vicky and I rode the dinghy ashore. We visited with Duane and Mar and decided to go for a walk in the woods. The pass winds its way past the two primitive campsites. It's pretty short and doesn't connect with a greater trail system. It's also a place where you'll find a lot of thimbleberries, but they were not ready for the picking when we were there. Besides the fishing, Hay Bay's main attraction is the moose. Most of the bay is very shallow, 2 or 3 feet, so you will often see moose standing and feeding in the water all along the shore. We saw several at Hay Bay, but always at a great distance. They were fun to look at through our binoculars. There are now more than 2,000 moose at Isle Royale, and the Park Service has had to bring in more wolves in an attempt to control the population. The bay is one of our favorite anchorages at the island. It is such a quiet and peaceful place, and well protected from most weather. Vicky was at the helm when we left. Inisfree was also leaving. We planned on meeting up again at Chippewa Harbor, about 15 miles to the northeast. It was raining, sometimes hard, but the visibility was good, so we had an easy time with the navigation. Our Royale is not a place to blindly move about in heavy fog or rain. GPS and radar are helpful, but it's always best to have visual confirmation. Soon, we got out from behind the rocks and reefs and entered the main body of the deep Siskiwit Bay. The rain continued. There wasn't any wind. We kept going on our compass course under engine power, and we're happy to be well protected from the worst of the rain by our Dodger and Bimini. It was definitely a day of typical Danish summer weather, like I remember from long ago. Vicky and I have gone into Chippewa Harbor countless times, so we know it well. We entered with just visual piloting and a sharp bow lookout. But if you haven't been in here before, you really need to consult the Great Lakes Cruising Club's guides or Bonnie Dahl's Superior Way. By closely following the advice from those sources, you shouldn't have much trouble getting in here. There are 2 basins at Chippewa Harbor. The first is where the dock and campground is. You will see the dock when you get near your second turn. It's a popular place for both boaters and hikers and has regular ferry service. Before Isle Royale National Park was established in 1940, there was a store and commercial and fishing camps here. It is still very popular with people who wish to go fishing. We were continuing on to the second and much larger basin. To get there, you slowly pass through the Narrows, a 1,000-foot long connecting cut which has a minimum of 10 feet of depth, if you stay in the middle. It's quite a pretty channel, with deep boreal forest and interesting rock formations on either side. Vicky and I like Chippewa Harbor's back basin because it is very beautiful and also because it's a true hurricane hole. After the Narrows, we usually keep going all the way down to the end of the basin where we prefer to drop the hook. It's a place where we are often tempted to stay for several days to explore and enjoy the park's famed wilderness.